Only the sound of a ticking clock filled the air. Everyone was waiting for the judge to arrive. People sat in silence, looking at their watches or whispering to each other. Suddenly, they heard it. Click, click, click. High heels on the marble floor. Everyone turned to see who was walking in. It was a woman. She walked slowly, but with confidence. Her black heels tapped loudly with each step. She wore a simple black suit, her hair tied neatly, and her eyes sharp. She looked calm. She looked strong. Her name was Maya Qureshi. On the other side of the room, a man smiled as he saw her. He sat with pride, wearing a clean, shiny police uniform. He crossed his arms and leaned back in his chair. His name was Officer Junaid. He whispered to his lawyer, loud enough for Maya to hear. "She's alone. This won't take long." But Maya didn't react. She heard him, but her face didn't change. She calmly walked to her seat and opened her file. There was no fear in her eyes. 6 months earlier, Maya lived a quiet life. She was a school teacher. She taught English to little children and loved her job. She was polite, respectful, and believed in the law. But one rainy night changed her life. That night, Maya was driving home after work. Rain hit the windshield hard. The streets were empty. Suddenly, blue and red lights flashed behind her. A police car was signaling her to stop. Confused, she pulled over. A tall officer walked toward her window. It was Officer Junaid. "Get out of the car," he said harshly. "Did I do something wrong?" Maya asked politely. "You were speeding," he said. "No, sir. I checked. I was driving slow because of the rain." He stared at her and said in a louder voice, "Are you arguing with a police officer?" Maya stayed quiet. She stepped out of the car slowly. "Open your trunk," he ordered. "Why?" she asked, nervous. "Are you hiding something?" He searched everything. Her trunk, her bag, even her lunchbox. Rain soaked her clothes. She was shivering. But he kept going. Then he said something that made her freeze. "You think you're smart? One false report from me and your life is over." That night, Maya sat in her room for hours. She wasn't angry. She was shocked. She kept hearing his voice in her mind. "One false report and your life is over." The next day, Maya found out the truth. Officer Junaid had written a fake report. He said she resisted arrest. He said she shouted at him. He said she was hiding drugs. All lies. And that's when Maya made her decision. "I will not stay silent," she said. "Not this time." Back in the courtroom, Officer Junaid sat comfortably. He had faced such cases before. He always won. He thought this one would be easy too. "She's just a school teacher," he told his lawyer. "She can't do anything." But he didn't know what Maya had brought with her. The judge entered the courtroom. Everyone stood. The trial began. Maya's lawyer stood up and began speaking. "Your Honor, this is not a case about speeding. This is about power. This is about fear. And this is about a woman who said enough." Then, he placed a small speaker on the table and pressed play. The room filled with the sound of a recorded voice. "You think you're smart? One false report from me, and your life is over." Gasps filled the courtroom. It was Officer Junaid's voice. Junaid's face turned red. He looked at Maya with shock. How did she record me? He had no answer. He had underestimated her. He thought she would be scared. He thought she would stay silent. He thought she would lose. He was wrong. Maya didn't smile. She didn't speak. She just looked at the judge, calm and ready. The courtroom was not laughing now. They were listening. They were watching. And for the first time, Officer Junaid felt small. The courtroom was quiet again. Everyone waited for what would happen next. Maya's lawyer looked at the judge. "Your Honor," he said softly, "this recording is just the start. We have more proof that Officer Junaid lied and tried to hurt my client." The judge nodded slowly. She wanted to hear everything. Maya sat in her seat. She looked calm, but inside her heart was pounding. 6 months ago, that night had changed her life. She remembered every moment. When the rain hit her car, she thought it was just a normal night. But the moment the police stopped her, Everything turned upside down. Maya's lawyer called the first witness. A young man walked to the stand. His name was Ali. Ali was a small shop owner near the road where Maya was stopped. He looked nervous but honest. He took a deep breath and said, "I saw the whole thing that night. Maya was driving slowly because of the rain. She did not speed. I saw the police car stop her, but Maya did nothing wrong." The lawyer smiled gently. He asked Ali, "Did you see Maya argue with the officer?" Ali shook his head. "No, sir. She was quiet and polite." The judge listened carefully. Officer Junaid's lawyer frowned. He knew this witness was important. Next, Maya's lawyer showed a video from a nearby shop's security camera. The video was blurry, but clear enough to see the important parts. It showed Maya's car driving slowly. It showed the police car stopping behind her. But the video did not show Maya being aggressive. She stayed calm. She did not argue or shout. The courtroom gasped again. Officer Junaid's face became tight. He knew the video did not help his case. Then Maya stood up. She walked slowly to the witness stand. She looked at the judge and spoke with a soft but strong voice. "I was scared that night. I did not know what the officer would do, but I did not do anything wrong. I was polite and calm. I just wanted to go home safely." Her eyes looked down for a moment. Then she looked back at the judge. "But the officer lied about me. He tried to make me look bad. He said I was aggressive and hiding things. That was not true." Maya's voice shook slightly. She took a deep breath and continued. "I recorded his words because I was scared. I wanted to protect myself. I want to show the truth." The courtroom was silent. No one spoke. Maya sat down. Officer Junaid looked at the judge and lawyer. He tried to smile, but it looked forced. His lawyer whispered something in his ear. Then, it was Officer Junaid's turn to speak. He stood up and said loudly, "I was only doing my job." Maya was not cooperating. She was rude and disrespectful. Maya's lawyer stood quickly. He said, "Your Honor, there is no proof of this. We have witnesses and video that say the opposite." The judge looked serious. She said, "Officer Junaid, you will need to explain the recording and the video." The trial continued. More questions were asked. Maya stayed calm. She answered every question honestly. Outside the courtroom, people whispered. Many believed Maya. She had been brave to stand up. She was no longer just a scared woman. She was fighting for justice. The courtroom buzzed quietly as the trial moved on. Maya sat still, her hands folded on her lap. Her heart was pounding inside. This fight was not just about the law. It was about her life, her dignity. She remembered the nights she had cried alone, the fear that gripped her every time she thought about that rainy night. But she had made a choice to fight. Officer Junaid's lawyer called more witnesses, but their stories were weak. No one saw Maya being rude or dangerous. Their words sounded rehearsed, like they wanted to protect the officer no matter what. Then came the hardest moment. Officer Junaid himself took the stand. He looked confident. He smiled and spoke loud. "I am a police officer. I protect people. Maya was disrespectful and dangerous. I had to control the situation." Maya's eyes never left him. She wanted to speak, but knew this was not her time. After Junaid finished, Maya's lawyer stood. He asked the officer questions that made the courtroom quiet. "Officer Junaid, did you follow all the rules that night? Did you try to help Maya or scare her?" The officer hesitated. He looked at his lawyer nervously. Maya felt a sudden rush of hope. This was her chance. The lawyer continued. "Is it true you threatened Maya with a false report? That you said you could destroy her life?" Junaid's face changed. He looked down. "I may have said something, but I was just doing my job." The judge looked serious. She said, "Threatening a citizen is not part of any job." The courtroom grew silent again. Maya sat back, breathing deeply. She remembered the recording, his words clear and cruel. Outside the courtroom, news cameras flashed. Reporters whispered about the brave woman who was standing up to a powerful officer. Maya's phone buzzed. A message from her friend. "You are strong. Keep going." She smiled for the first time in a long time. Inside, the trial moved toward the end of the day. Maya's lawyer prepared to speak again. He stood slowly and faced the judge. "Your Honor, this case is about truth and justice." Maya was scared, but she never stopped fighting. "We ask that you look closely at the evidence, because no one is above the law." The judge nodded. She looked at both sides carefully. "We will continue tomorrow." Maya left the courtroom with her head held high. She was tired, but ready. She knew this fight was far from over. The next morning, the courtroom was full again. People whispered quietly, waiting for the trial to continue. Maya entered with calm steps. Her eyes were steady. She was ready for what was coming. The judge called the court to order. "Today," she said, "we will hear the final evidence." Maya's lawyer stood. He brought a man to the stand. This man was Raza, a former police officer. He was nervous but honest. Raza took a deep breath and began to speak. "I worked with Officer Junaid for many years. I know how he behaves." He paused, looking at the courtroom. "He has a history of bullying people. He uses his power to scare others. I saw him threaten innocent people before." A murmur ran through the courtroom. People exchanged shocked looks. The judge looked serious. "Mr. Raza, is there proof of these claims?" Raza nodded slowly. "I have some documents and reports that show complaints against Officer Junaid." He handed the papers to the judge. Maya felt a new hope. Finally, the truth was coming out. Then, Maya's lawyer asked Raza another question. "Did you ever see Officer Junaid treat a citizen unfairly?" Raza's voice grew stronger. "Yes, I saw him lie to cover his mistakes. I saw him threaten a woman like Maya. She was scared but brave." Officer Junaid's face tightened. He whispered to his lawyer, but it was clear he was worried. Next, the lawyer showed messages on Maya's phone. The messages were from Officer Junaid himself. They were rude and threatening. The courtroom gasped again. No one could believe an officer would send such messages. The judge looked at Officer Junaid. Her voice was firm. "Officer, you must explain these messages." He looked down, silent. Maya felt her heart beat faster. She had waited a long time for this moment. Then, the unexpected happened. Officer Junaid stood up. His face was pale. He said, "I am sorry. I was wrong. I did threaten Maya. I lost control that night." The courtroom was stunned. No one expected him to say this. Maya looked at him quietly. She did not smile or say anything. But inside, she felt a small victory. The judge nodded. "Your honesty is noted, but this court must decide the truth and justice." Maya's lawyer stood again. He said, "Your Honor, my client faced fear and lies, but she stood strong. We ask for justice today." The judge looked at both sides. "This trial will end soon. I will give my decision after reviewing all the facts." Maya left the courtroom feeling hopeful. She knew the hardest part was almost over. The courtroom was full again. Everyone waited quietly for the final moments of the trial. Maya sat with calm eyes. She knew this was the last chance to prove her truth. The judge looked serious. She said, "Today, I will hear the closing statements." Maya's lawyer stood first. He spoke with clear, strong words. "Your Honor, this case is about courage and truth." Maya was scared, but she did not give up. Officer Junaid lied and tried to hurt her, but the evidence shows the truth. He looked at the judge. "We ask for justice for Maya." Then, Officer Junaid's lawyer stood. He tried to defend his client. "Your Honor, my client admits mistakes, but he was under stress. He did not mean harm." The judge listened carefully. Her eyes moved between Maya and the officer. Then, it was Maya's turn to speak. She stood slowly and looked at everyone. Her voice was soft but strong. "I was scared that night. I felt small and alone. But I recorded the truth. I fought back with my voice and courage." She paused. "No one should be scared of those who are supposed to protect them. We all deserve respect and justice." The courtroom was silent. Maya sat down. The judge looked thoughtful. She said, "I will give my decision soon." Outside, Maya felt the weight of waiting. She knew her life was about to change. Her phone buzzed with messages of support. Friends and strangers believed in her fight. That night, Maya did not sleep well. Her mind raced with thoughts. But she was ready. She had fought hard. Now, she hoped for justice. The courtroom was empty now. The trial was over. But the judge had not given her decision yet. Maya sat quietly in a small waiting room. Her hands trembled a little. She thought about everything that had happened. The fear, the pain, the lies, and the courage it took to stand up. Outside, the world kept moving. People walked by, unaware of the battle inside the courtroom. Maya felt alone, but also strong. She knew this waiting was the hardest part. Her phone buzzed again. A message from her mother. "We are proud of you. Stay strong." Maya smiled softly. Her lawyer came to her side. He said, "Judge will announce the decision tomorrow morning. Try to rest tonight." Maya nodded. That night, Maya lay in bed. She stared at the ceiling. Her mind was full of questions. Would she win? Would justice be served? She remembered the moment she recorded the officer. She had been scared, but that recording had saved her. It was proof that the truth was on her side. The next morning came quickly. Maya dressed carefully and went to the court. Her heart beat fast. The courtroom was packed. Friends, family, and strangers came to support her. The judge entered and sat down. She looked serious but calm. After hearing all the evidence, the judge said, "I have made my decision." Maya held her breath. The judge continued. Officer Junaid abused his power. He threatened and lied to Ms. Maya. This court finds the officer guilty of misconduct. A wave of relief washed over Maya. Tears filled her eyes. She smiled softly. The judge said, "This court orders disciplinary action against Officer Junaid. Ms. Maya, you have the right to seek further justice if you wish." Maya stood up slowly. She looked at the judge with gratitude. Outside the courtroom, cameras flashed. People cheered softly. Maya felt a new strength inside her. She had fought against fear and won. Her journey was not over, but this battle was hers. She had shown that courage and truth could change even the darkest moments. The court's decision spread quickly. News channels talked about Maya's brave fight. People praised her courage. She became a symbol of hope for many. Maya felt different now. She was no longer the scared girl from before. She had found her voice, and she was ready to live her life with new strength. Her family stood by her side. They hugged her tightly, proud and relieved. Her mother whispered, "You did it, Beta. You were strong." Maya smiled through tears. The officers who had supported Maya thanked her quietly. They said her fight would help change things. Maybe now, others would be brave too. Maya started to speak at events and schools. She told her story simply and honestly. She wanted to help others find their voice. But Maya also knew healing would take time. She still felt pain from what happened. Sometimes she felt afraid again. One evening, Maya sat quietly in her room. She looked at the stars outside her window. She promised herself, "I will not let fear control me. I will live for myself and others like me." Maya's life slowly changed. She found new friends, new dreams. She wanted to study law, to help others fight injustice. Her journey was not easy, but Maya was no longer alone. She had faced the storm. She had won the battle. And now, she was ready for a new beginning. The woman who once felt broken was now a warrior, strong, brave, and full of hope.